Granted that we can play pretty much any game we want to in the United States. Hi, folks, it's Falcon, and today on Game Ranks, 10 games.
First of all, we all know why we got to stop this. Um, did you guys even know, or do you even know of any banned games? Did you know that
Yes.
games can be banned? What
Oh
game do you know?
Manhunt.
yeah, I know the first
Is that
one.
banned?
Yeah.
Well, I think Mortal Kombat was the first game to ever get banned in the U.S. at one point. Because mothers, when the very first Mortal Kombat came out, they were um, concerned about the violence and things. So I think Mortal
Well,
Kombat.
everybody was concerned with the violence of Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat came out.
I mean, that was the first time you could literally rip someone's head off and have their spine dangling. So,
And rip somebody heart out and the blood's dripping. And it had that dark fucking music when you did it.
yep.
Yeah.
But
It
they
was
hell,
said
they were trying to
it
ban
was.
D&D at one point because they said it was satanic.
I've heard Magic the Gathering, like you
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
Satanic. I've heard, I mean, there's a lot of games that were under some sort of scrutiny. I remember a game back in the day, one of my friends had a Sega CD, and then he had this game called Night Trap. And I remember Night Trap was about to get banned
Yeah.
because they showed a girl in a shower, and I was
Yep.
Yeah.
just like, yep.
I
Yeah.
didn't know like any games actually got banned in America,
I
but
know they
I
wanted to ban
yeah.
Mortal Kombat. They made a big deal out of it. And they went to Congress and all of that shit. I remember the whole
Well,
hoopla
that's
about
where the rating system came from. The game where the games got their rating system 16, 17, 18,
I remember
based
Grand
off of Mortal Kombat.
I remember Grand Theft Auto almost got banned because of the school shootings.
mm, yikes. Well, let's find out what other games are banned.
That actually got banned in entire countries. At number 10 is Devotion. Now, Devotion is this really cool stylized horror game that I really enjoy. It uses color in a really vibrant but terrifying
Anybody heard of
way.
this?
It really does a
Nah,
good
I was
job.
about to say,
Now, the
never
game
heard of this
itself
one.
is set in the 1980s, so it's very interesting that they hid in a very anachronistic Easter egg. There is a poster you can interact with that says Winnie the Pooh and Xi Jinping. Now, Xi Jinping is the president of China, and people claim that he looks like Winnie the Pooh. I don't care whether he does or doesn't, personally. He does, though. If you make media that is calling him Winnie the Pooh, and even in some cases simply just mentioning Winnie the Pooh at all, and try to disseminate it in China, you get banned. Now, I am only describing this. I have no idea if this is bannable in China. However, the developers of Devotion were not simply mentioning it. In providing both names with no further context, they're basically saying he looks like Winnie the Pooh.
I wish
At
people
number
could
9,
read a
Call
Winnie the
of
Pooh.
Winnie the
Yeah, I
Pooh
don't
was a
think he
lovable.
don't
Winnie
look
the
like
Pooh's
Winnie the
cute
Pooh.
as hell.
Yeah, he don't look like he look like Gargamel or some shit to me.
Oh,
He does look like Gargamel.
see, Cobra, you gotta watch out what you say, because what's the People's Republic of China might come after you.
Yeah, I was gonna say something horrible and then I caught myself and I'll say it once we stop the video.
That
Banned in the
motherfucker,
USA/China.
that motherfucker look like the Keebler elf. Fuck
Duty
him.
Modern Warfare was weirdly banned in
Modern
the
Warfare
Russian
2?
PlayStation
Or
Store.
what?
Now, the only real information
no
we have
Russian?
on it.
Is
My
it?
favorite mission.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it the no Russian mission? Yeah, I can see why that would get banned.
Is that Sony decided, and when I say decided, I'm putting quotes around it, but you can't see my hands. I'll read their statement. At the heart of Modern Warfare is a completely fictional story, carefully crafted to please all players. Sony decided not to sell the game in the Russian PlayStation Store. We look forward to the release of the game digitally for PC and Xbox on October 25th. Now, Sony never looks forward to the release of a game on other consoles. That's not
That's a badass looking fucking Xbox.
Yeah.
I always wondered like how other country feels like when Call of Duties and games like that, like, make them look bad. Like in DMZ you got El Mazareth and shit, and you got all the fucking Arabs running around. You know, I
Yes.
wonder how they feel about that shit. They probably feel the same way I felt when fucking Resident Evil was over in Africa with that shit.
Oh, Resident Evil 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say one of the
My
games we
favorite
used to.
one.
I bet, bitch.
No. It was the first
Nah,
one
too
I
late.
played.
Oh, yeah. It's too late. It's
Uh-uh.
too late.
Ain't no backpedaling.
Oh
You know
man.
what?
How dare you have things
I'll
you like.
feed into your guys's your little cornering game. I love slaughtering black zombies. It is fun.
Um, I was gonna say the game we used to play, Ghost Recon Wildlands, actually got in a lot of trouble because it was the image of I believe it was South America, some places in South America, and Ghost Wildlands has a drug cartel. So it was saying it was giving the narrative that all these South Americans are part of some drug cartel, and so when they did the second one, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, they made a fictional country and made it exist because of the backlash they got from Wildlands.
Costa Ricans. Never mind.
Yeah, don't dig yourself into a grave.
Yeah, don't be like me and get cornered, assholes.
I'm just saying.
It's all in good fun.
I'm just saying. Costa Ricans make it. White people bring it. Black people sell it. Oops, I said it.
And in the USA.
Fuck them if they can't take a joke. I like this
Remember,
Xbox. It's dope. What kind
This
of
is all satire.
Man, some
I
of those
like
Xboxes
comedy.
they had throughout the years was dope as hell. Like I
Yeah.
used to have,
Motherfucker looks
I used to have
good.
the Halo one, and when you turned it on, it'd make like the Halo reach noise. It was
Mhm.
kind of cool, but it was haunted.
Oh,
It turned on and off by itself all the time.
did you get the red ring of death from Xbox?
It was an
Everybody
Xbox
got that.
One, but
How business works. I would speculate here that this is the result of political pressure that Sony caved into, which Microsoft and I guess just Activision in general did not. Steam certainly doesn't act like a regulatory body in various countries. Or maybe Sony just loves the Russian people too much. More than their money, even. Doesn't that sound silly? To me, it's obvious they all got some kind of political pressure and Sony responded to it. At number 8 is Danganronpa V3 in South Korea. South Korea is often lauded as the amazing, beautiful, capitalist counterpart to North Korea's, well, we all know what North Korea is. But hey, guess what? They aren't super in love with free speech either. They have a regulatory body called the Game Rating and Administration Committee, which has to rate all games that are released in the country. And when they saw Danganronpa V3, they were like, no,
Never
I'll
played
read
it.
the law they cited.
Huh?
I've heard of it, but I've never played it.
I've heard of it too.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I never heard of
I
it.
think it's
There
based
is a
on an
concern
anime.
for societal disruption due to an amplified portrayal of crime, violence, sex, or etc., which in turn would incite criminal behavior or copycat crimes. Hey, did you know that a copycat crime is when a criminal actually commits a crime and somebody else does it because they realize that it's possible? Anyways, there was a murder case that happened around the release of the game, which was very grisly and involved murdering children, which the game is kind of about that. So I understand the sensitivity. However, lesson here, folks, always be critical of the state, whether the state supports a communist economy or a capitalist one. At number 7, Fallout 3 was banned in India way back in 2008, which was cited as having cultural sensitivity issues. Now, Fallout 3 contains mutant two-headed cows, and the cows share a name with Hindu scholars and preachers. I'm talking specifically about Brahmin, who are generally some avatar of sacred learning in Hinduism. That's, of course, a very simple definition of it. You're welcome to do further research. I probably understand this one, however, as somebody who thinks that it's quite possible for people to make up their own minds on things. Maybe censoring the game wasn't the best idea, or they could have just asked for the cows to be taken out for the India version. I don't know.
Or just
Because,
change their
I mean,
name.
let's just go ahead and say this. The Grand Theft Auto series has been released in India without any problems, and I promise you, even if it's not specifically offensive in the way that this is, it's a much more offensive game than Fallout 3.
I think I'm
That's from our perspective, though. You gotta
Yeah.
think like Brahmin is like a religious thing into like Indian culture. I know a little bit about it. That's why, I can see why they would be upset about that.
That's what I said. They just changed the name though.
And
There's
make them
just a
immortal
mutant
so you
cow.
can't kill the cow.
No, you can't have a mutant. That would make it even worse. That make it more religious.
I thought they I don't want to use the word worship, but I thought they held the bovine to a high regard over there.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
They're like
Number
sacred animals.
6.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said they're like sacred animals.
Yeah.
It's the Western version of the PlayStation 4 game Judgment, a very cool game that I personally enjoyed quite a bit. Had an actor in it who was arrested for cocaine use. He loved the cocaine. Now, here in the United States, we don't ban stuff because somebody used cocaine. We generally kind of go, whatever. Hope they don't get too tangled up in that and die of an overdose. And then we
Cocaine's a hell
consume
of a
it like
drug.
the pigs that we are, forgetting entirely about the ramifications of cocaine use. And, I mean, the game didn't get banned. However, they did change the guy in this country, which is weird. None of us know who that actor is. None of us know that he used
How
cocaine.
you gonna
None of
say
us
I
would have
was
cared.
putting my foot on Eddie Murphy's couch? I ain't like that's something to do. I got more sense than that. So anyway, I was putting my foot on my Eddie Murphy couch.
I mean, if you
Cocaine,
needed to
hell of a
change
drug.
it for Japan, sure, but we didn't care. You kind of made extra work for yourselves, Sega. But to be fair, Sega is also the king of making things difficult on itself, so, I mean, it's kind of to be expected. Judgment's a great game. Play it. At number 5, Iraq banned PUBG. And unfortunately, for a lot of Iraqi kids, that was a place where a lot of them actually met up without being monitored by their parents. The Iraqi government imposed a ban more or less because the game was popular. The reasoning is that it's addictive, but like, there's a lot of other games you would have to ban
Candy
if
Crush
simply
is
being
also
addictive was the
Candy
problem.
Crush pretty
I
good.
guess it's kind of addictive to have friends, though, which is what a lot of PUBG players that were affected by this ban ended up saying. Because apparently,
I mean, I'm not surprised by that. They only made it where women can drive. Like, I think it was like 8 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah.
life as an Iraqi youth is fairly alienating and difficult to find time, space, and a place to have friends. Internet cafes end up being a place where people do that. All it basically did was piss off young people. They continue to play it, continue to use it. I mean, the Iraqi government has heard of VPNs, right? At number 4, Great Britain banned a sexy dungeon crawler by the name of Omega Labyrinth Z. Great Britain
Sound like one of
has
Curtis
a video
games.
game ratings council very similar
Omega
to
Labyrinth.
South Korea's. Theirs is called the Video Standards Council, and they refuse to give it a rating, effectively banning it in the country.
Hey,
because
what
you can't
happens in
sell
the
a game
dungeon
without
stays in
being
the
in country.
dungeon.
The VS
If mama ain't happy, nobody
That sound like
ain't
whack off
happy.
chat talk, man.
Sega said this. They believe the content in the game would have strong appeal to non-adult players, which is an issue that would be unacceptable to the majority of UK consumers, and more importantly, has the potential to be significantly harmful in terms of the social and moral development of young people in particular. Now, apparently some of the mechanics of the game are collecting underwear and bras and rubbing
There you
women's
go.
bodies using touch controls in order to free them from the
Yep. Carry this game. That's 100%.
No.
That's gonna be on your next top 5.
No.
Where can I download this?
Next week, Titties, the trilogy. You said what, Mr. Five?
Where can I download this at?
Steam store.
I
You gotta
guess
go
they
to the
probably
third
want more
page,
kids
though.
to
No, I'm just
play,
like
It's silly sounding. Let's just go
Whatever
ahead
happens
and
in
say
Dungeons
little
stays in
sus.
Dungeons.
But the game itself also got canceled in the US because the publisher that had signed on was like, actually, we don't want to bother with it. Now, like I said, I'm not really intending to look into the sexual content of a video game, but this one apparently has some stuff that's a little bit more objectionable than what I've described here.
Bros.
At number 3, Last of Us Part 2 got banned in a number of countries in the Middle East, and there really wasn't any reasons given. It's kind of just like, hey, you can't buy this game if you even try. Now, it's speculation it's because there's some LGBTQ content in the game, which tend to get banned in several Middle Eastern countries, regardless of the level at which they're implemented in the game, which I personally don't care about at all. Now, you can buy the original game
to throw that
and
in.
the remaster in those countries, which is interesting, considering that the Left Behind DLC is included in the remaster. There's some inconsistencies in their banning processes, let's just say. At number 2, Australia's pretty
I played the original one. And because I was like, in the original one, they never really did anything. I think they might have kissed, but a lot of everything else was kind of implied, like they were a lesbian, but they were like, what, teenagers, I think they were in Last of Us.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't play the remaster. So
I didn't play the remaster either, but I think it was like The Last of Us came out, then the DLC came out, and then they included the DLC with the remaster. And I think I played the DLC separate, and they did kiss in the DLC or something like that. So I just don't see how that's a big deal. Well, I don't know.
That's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Didn't they what was that Resident Evil they cried about, or was that Chun-Li and Street Fighters? They made somebody ass and breast small in one of these games.
I know Tomb Raider gets a lot of that for what's her name, Lara Croft. I don't know about Resident Evil. I haven't heard anything. I mean, if it got banned, I would think it got banned for other stuff for the rest of people. Getting your head chopped off in the blood and gore versus, or like what y'all pointed out earlier, killing Africans in Africa.
I think all that shit's stupid. If a game's set in Africa and the zombies were white, it would be another uproar. So, like, what the fuck you want to do?
And then they kill Mexicans with Las Plagas.
Right.
They kill white people in Raccoon City. It's
Hold on. They were not in Mexico and Las Plagas. They were in Spain. That's two different things. They're in Europe. Now, just because they speak Spanish, don't mean they're the same.
All I'm saying is, if they had black people in Raccoon City, it would have been an uproar. Okay, that was bad taste. All right.
What is
And happy with games. I mean,
Social
you've probably
justice
heard the
warriors are
story
fighting
about
everything.
them banning a game. It's
I think the raccoon part went over y'all head.
sometimes their bans actually do something to the game. For instance, when DayZ got banned in Australia, they actually managed to get Bohemia Interactive to change the game worldwide in order to unban it, which they did. One of the primary reasons that Australia banned the game was the inclusion of a certain plant that is now legal in certain parts of the United States as a healing item. This is something that Australia frowns upon. But yeah, they modified it worldwide because they didn't want to separate the Australian players from the rest of the world. And finally, at number 1,
That's
way
hilarious.
Never played it.
They
Dash, you
made
wanted to put it?
DayZ, I always wanted to play it. I just never played it.
It's not good.
Oh,
I mean, they took the weed out.
It's
I was like,
actually
they
trash.
made weed a healing animal. I mean, healing item. That's hilarious.
It's herbs in Resident Evil. That's what I always saw it. Herb, weed.
Then you got to mix the different strains to get the stronger
Mix
strain for better healing.
Put them in beakers. They're going to have some baking soda in there pretty soon.
Yep.
Number 1 better blow my socks off because I never heard of most of these games.
In 2008, Manhunt was not only banned in New Zealand, but if you had the game, if you possessed the game, if someone saw you and reported you as owning a copy of Manhunt, they would come and arrest you, fine you for $2,000.
That's a black angry police officer, man. What's up with that?
That is Officer Tenpenny.
No.
He's
good. And he runs ICE from San Andreas.
That's a real officer on the game?
Yeah, he's Officer Tenpenny. He runs ICE and he kind of like, tries to set the gangs against each other, and he's a crooked cop basically.
He looks crooked.
Racist.
If you had shown it to anyone under 18, you would be liable for a further fine of $20,000
Damn.
and imprisonment for up to 1 year. You would have to import the game into the country in order to do this because you had absolutely no way of getting it otherwise. They were very serious about this ban. I mean, it's not like a fluffy, cuddly, nice game or anything, but I think we've seen worse stuff at this
Manhunt's
point.
fucked.
New
I
Zealand.
love Manhunt.
Well, that's
though.
all for today. We've shown you
I
enough of the
want to see
forbidden
more
knowledge.
Manhunt now. I need to know what this game
Manhunt
is
is
about.
basically like a big snuff film. Is basically what the game
Oh,
is. Based
that
off a
makes
snuff
sense.
film.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that makes
Yeah,
I
I've seen Manhunt. Yeah, I
agree.
never played it.
I
but I've
remember
seen it.
that.
I have it in my closet somewhere, and I have
Well-
Manhunt too.
From the image
So-
they showed, it looked like The Purge almost.
You play like you escape from a mental institution or something like in Manhunt, right? I think so. Or was it just prison? I can't remember. But you had some sort of psychotic episode.
James Earl Cash, found guilty and sentenced to death, has been on death row for the past 3 years and was executed last night.
You've had an unexpected reprieve. Do exactly as I say, and I promise this will be over before the night is out.
They went crazy over this, huh?
It's
Yeah.
it's
Go ahead.
different. It's different, but it reminds me of an old game called Splatterhouse.
It always reminded
Hello, everyone. What
Go
is
ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It always reminded me of one of my favorite games, and if Sabius didn't talk, Caritas and Sabius didn't fight for 6 hours, I was going to ask to look at it. But it also kind of reminds me of The Suffering, which is one of my favorite games.
I don't think I've seen The Suffering. I don't
The
know.
Suffering's a game I wish they would remaster. It's a game that everybody should play once. It's fucked.
You got any
What system was
trailers
it on?
on The Suffering?
Huh?
What system was it on?
PS2.
I don't remember that one.
Got any
The
trailers
Suffering?
of it? Yeah,
Yeah.
pull it up. I don't recall that one. Maybe
I can
know
remember.
it when
I
see
can
it.
remember the cover right now too. It has a dude in an electric chair.
Stay the same.
Mm-hmm. It's got a good name, The Suffering.
There you go. Surrounded by carrots.
This was epic back then.
Yeah, this is like, oh, damn. When you look at the graphics now,
Dude, this shit scared the fuck out of me.
Welcome to Carnate. Inmates. Enjoy
I
your
got
stay.
games on my phone.
I've
that
been
make this
sentenced
look
to
like
death
trash.
for murdering my family.
Inmate, is this true?
Oh, he won't say. Claims he blacked the whole thing out. A likely story.
So is he a white guy with pork chop sideburns that's got a black family?
I was looking at that. I was like, his family look dark. I was like, when they showed him, I was like, I can't tell.
Is it wrong? If I say I'm not entirely sure?
This
That's racist.
they got Hugh Jackman as the fucking.
When the judge sentenced me to die, he told me he only wished my suffering could be equal to that of my victims.
I read about your trial. They got no witnesses, all circumstantial evidence. No one knows what really happened but you.
I expected to sit waiting for my time to die.
Whoa.
Then,
Confederate flag. Did I see a Confederate flag in the background?
You saw a Confederate flag?
I think it was a Confederate flag in the background.
Inmate, back in your cell. Everything's under control.
all hell broke loose.
I cannot escape what I bring about.
What's taking so long?
Your being here ain't no coincidence.
In a place where nothing is what it seems, you will choose your path and uncover the truth behind the suffering.
So wait a minute. So I'm a white man with 70 sideburns, back in the 70s sideburns. I got a black family. I'm locked up for a crime that I didn't commit. I need to prove my innocence and fight them weird ass monsters. Now, whether this is called the suffering, this is some bullshit.
All right, my theory is
racist.
His inner racist broke out and he killed his family. No, I'm joking.
It's like Kratos meets Shaft meets Vin Diesel and Hugh Jackman in a gumbo, shake it around and sprinkle it on top of it and smash Resident Evil.
I want you guys to remember, because you guys are old, right?
No, we're not old. We're
No, we're
older
not
than
old.
you.
God damn.
Well, you know what? This trailer, this game was crazy looking, I'm sure, when it came out.
No, you know what I was thinking? I was like, so all these older games that we watching, like, I'm trying to think of me, like, at the time it came out, and I'd have played that because that's really giving me like Max Payne vibes.
It
And
reminded me of like Doom meets Dead Space or something.
I mean, I would like for them to make a remake if they're not gonna slop through it, but it's got to be dark and it's got to be messed up. Like they're gonna have to serve it to me fucked up. Like it damn near needs to be getting banned.
This game, I don't know if it was banned, but it was dark and it was fucked. And the second game after this one's fucked too.
Do you remember the story, Mr. Fire?
Yeah, for the most part.
So I had this theory about Dead Space that turned out to not be correct. I'm wondering, because I got a similar vibe from this. Is he just crazy and killing normal people?
Okay, so they're actual demons.
Okay.
But the way it ends, if I remember right, is kind of skewed and fucked, where it makes it because they stated multiple times how he blacked out and he's the only one that knows and whatever else. They kind of leave it the cliffhanger at the end of the series of like, did he not murder his family, or did he black out and become one of those fucking monsters and killed his family? So they kind of leave it at that, but it's one of those. If it came out today, it'd probably be a lot cooler than it was, but it was like one of those psychological horror games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it could be on any other console other than Game Boy, I'm sure it's gonna be good.
It was on the PS2 and the Xbox.
Oh, that's what that was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
it was on Virtual Boy, it's just red lines and black background. It burns your eyes to play it.
It's just what was that game? I think it was on PS1. Nightmare Creatures. I mean, graphically, it looks about the same as that. Nightmare Creatures is not a good game.
That game ain't. I'm shit. That game is not. It's not as bad, or it's not worse than Legacy of Kain, and that was my shit.
It looked like it had the same like type of feel to it, like the graphic. Yeah.
I'll say this game, considering Grand Theft Auto 3 came out about the same time, and you guys remember Grand Theft Auto 3?
Grand Theft Auto 3 was
top
pixels though. Yeah, top down.
No, it wasn't top down, but this game
was isometric.
I should say this game didn't look, and I'm not defending it because I like it. I just think it's an interesting story. But this game didn't look bad for 2003 to early 2004 graphics.
Hey, I'm
definitely agreeing with you.
Yeah, I prefer a story over everything. Story
me
trumps
too.
everything. Yeah. We're just giving you shit.
Yeah.
Like I said, this made a little like I couldn't play this game when the lights off. This game freaked me the hell out.
Yeah, the game that did that to me was Resident Evil.
Silent Hill was similar.
I'd hear noises, and I'd think it's that one dude they showed a couple times with like the weird knife hands.
Yeah, that thing looked fucked up. It had like prosthetic knife legs and shit too.
Yeah, and you could tell it was coming, but didn't know where it was because you'd hear like a that ran across things, and half the time you wouldn't even see it coming because it'd run across the fucking ceiling and jump behind you.
Victor's from Resident Evil.
Yeah, no, actually, I can see how that game could be interesting. I don't know about the gameplay, but from the story, and
it plays very similar to the old Max Payne games.
Okay. I used to like the Max Payne games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, overall it looks good. I never played it.
Not many people have.
But
according to Wikipedia, it sold 1.5 million copies, which makes it a success.
Yeah, that's back then. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, look how interested it is. You got a white guy with mutton chops and a black family. He's locked up.
They could have been Italian.
I don't know.
That's ahead of his time.
Interracial family, that's ahead of its time right there.
Happening. I'm your host, Eamon Hassan, and welcome back to another video here at Most Amazing Top 10. Now, I, for one, used to be an avid video gamer. I had the PS1, PS2, PS3, I even played a bunch of PC games, and let's not forget all the good old times on the Nintendo DS. But of course, there are always some games here and there that cause a lot of controversy, so much so that they end up getting banned. Worse than that, they just become straight up illegal to play. So, let's find out more. Just a disclaimer, these games vary. Some are illegal, some are banned, and some have just stopped being distributed to...
I like to say that I really like her sweater. It's really nice. It's a nice sweater.
Just kind of fidgety.
Should have been a turtleneck sweater.
Depending on what part of the world you live in. I feel like a broken record saying this, but of course, as always, guys, like and subscribe to this channel and to Top 10 Hindi videos as well if you haven't already. But enough of me rambling, let's just jump straight into it, she says after rambling for like 30 seconds. This is the top 10 games that are illegal to play. Starting us off with number 10 is Rape Play, and I wish I could say the game isn't as bad as its title or sugarcoat it in any way possible.
This escalated quick.
Wow!
Shut the fuck up.
This is number 10. This is number 10.
They starting off like this.
Oh shit.
Came right out the gate. Okay.
Wow.
At number 10, hanging black men from trees. like what? That's number 10? What's number 1?
Actually, they call it Plantation Simulator.
That's crazy.
Oh damn! Was this just illegal to play, or was it banned, or why all of it above?
I'd give
but
it a
I
good play.
really can't. Rape Play was a 3D erotic game made by the Japanese company Illusion and was released in 2006. The game is single player and the story is quite short and quite horrendous. You play as the main male character, Masaya Kimura, who basically gets arrested for groping a woman on the train. He then decides to stalk that girl who reported him and her sister and mother and rapes all three of them. There are two possible endings to the game, but thankfully both result in Masaya dying. Surprisingly, this game wasn't banned straight away, but 3 years after its release, a member of British Parliament.
We're gonna have to can this one and share this one at another time. Hey, you know what? Look at all the trouble that I've been going with through YouTube. How many? This motherfucker has 7.7 million subscribers.
You know what's funny to me? It's her sweater, and in the background of the girl in the green.
Yeah, I think it's her sweater that's giving her the lead. How many? This got 3.9 million views.
I want to learn more about Rape Play, so let's continue.
Got the game banned and got Amazon to remove it from its website. And I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory as to why, because it promotes this violent behavior, so let's just move on to the next one. Coming in at number 9 is Manhunt 2. Released by renowned developer of controversial games, Rockstar Games, released a sequel psychological horror stealth video game back in 2007. The game follows Daniel Lamb, a mental patient who suffers from amnesia, while trying to uncover who he really is, and Leo Casper, who's a sociopathic assassin. The game focuses on stealth attacks, which usually come in the form of attacking the person from behind undetected, and there are 3 levels of execution, each more gruesome than the previous one. The sequel includes using firearms for executions and using objects around the player like telephones or toilets to also execute the victim. In the first one, you could also even suffocate your victims with a plastic bag. Despite this game ranking number 1 in the Gamer Angst's list of top 25 goriest games of all time, this game had mixed to positive reviews. However, the game was just deemed as way too gory. It was refused classification in the UK, and even after Rockstar went back and added some filters to the gore, like removing all but 2 decapitations in the game, that's an improvement, I guess, it still ended up being banned from sale in South Korea, Germany, Ireland, Kuwait, New Zealand, and Saudi Arabia. Seeing the screenshots of this game, it really is gore to the max, and I'm not one that's really disgusted by gore, but it's a lot. At number 8 now, we have Grand Theft Auto. Now, I've played GTA 5 and San Andreas, the latter being my favorite, and it's funny because growing up, my sister used to mute the game so I couldn't hear the characters swearing while I played. And I know you can do bad stuff in the game, but I didn't realize it was banned in so many countries. If you haven't played it, GTA has you playing as the main character and you complete missions and achieve your objectives in the story. But when you're not playing the story, you're free to roam around the world you're in.
San Andreas and VR. It was supposed to be coming out on the Quest. I haven't heard anything else about it lately.
Did he get banned?
I doubt it at this point. It's probably just Meta just lying, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe they were waiting for Quest 3 to come out. Who knows?
Free to run over people if you want, fight with whoever you want, just you name it, you can do it in GTA. The game does have a lot of violence in it, as well as general mayhem and sexual content. Way back in 2008, a man called Paul Wachino was riding in a cab in Bangkok, and when it was time to pay the cab driver, he stabbed him to death, citing GTA, saying killing seemed easy in the game. The game was banned in Thailand after that.
That dude.
Yeah.
He was gonna do something like that.
It's bogus as
pretty
hell.
much, yeah. That's not the game. That's just him just wanting to do something and just use the game as an excuse.
Somebody's life out and came up with that bullshit.
Components of the series are also banned in Brazil, China, Japan, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, and the UAE. Filling our number 7 slot is Standoff. Originally titled Active Shooter, already problematic, the first-person shooter game was developed by Russian game developer Anton Makarevsky and was originally set for release in 2018. The plot of the game is pretty simple. The setting is a school shooting, and you can either take the role of the active shooter or a SWAT team member member responding to an SOS about the event. As the player, you can choose whichever weapon you'd like knives, guns, grenades, etc., and your death toll of police and civilians is tallied live on your screen. I feel like this is such a horrendous idea. I don't know why Anton even thought this would be a good premise for a video game, but anyway, this game obviously attracted a lot of controversy. Parents of the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting victims got 100,000 signatures while petitioning against it.
It seemed like if you got a horrible idea for a game, it's a smash hit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I would. I won't say I wouldn't play it.
Overseas though, like I'm pretty sure, not 100%, but I'm pretty sure like school shootings are mostly an American thing. And there's a lot of countries that don't like Americans. So I can see it being a hit in other places for sure.
Like, bad premise, dark topic, but like, you're saying if it was free, you wouldn't like give it a run?
I would not.
If it was what?
Free?
I mean,
for a school shooting?
Yeah, you wouldn't give this game a go?
Well,
I mean,
I'm a gamer.
There you go.
Honestly, I haven't seen enough that would make me really want to play it. Like the graphics and everything. Granted, this is more recent. This is 2018. So in 2018, I was probably playing Dark Souls 3 or some shit. So
well, because it's banned, I would want to play it.
Well, I remember Modern Warfare 2 hit a lot of backlash for the airport thing. If you haven't, if you don't know what that is, it's a lot.
No, Russia.
I couldn't even pull the trigger in that thing. Like until the police came and tried to stop us, I did not fire a single bullet. And then when they turned on me, I was like, it's probably because I didn't shoot.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't do it. It was
Man,
so much. That was so
I tried
much
to
for
mow
me.
everyone down.
That was so much. It was too much for me. That's all I said. Like this game, I could not play that. I don't think I could do it.
I mowed everyone down. I was like, okay. It's a game. I ain't gonna do it in real life, but fuck, it's a game. Why not?
Oh, that airport, I was just like, I literally just walked with them with my gun, like, what the fuck is happening?
Did you really just pull up the whole thing after carrying this game? Just non-spoiler.
No rush.
It piqued my curiosity.
Have you not played this? Oh,
you
God.
never played this one? Oh, damn.
Well, don't spoil it.
You just played it. That was it right there.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
In all its glory.
Yeah, you get off the elevator and literally just start mowing down people in an airport for no reason.
Because I remember when they first game, because I bought Modern Warfare when that first game came out. So I was like playing its first night, and it had a little disclaimer page when you first started the game. It was like, yeah, there's some scenes in here. Do you permit or give her permission to skip the scene or play the scene? So I always wondered what the scene was. And then when you get to the stage, I was like, oh.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. No, but literally, I just walked with them because it doesn't stop there. You progress through the airport doing the same thing. And I just walked with them, but then like an armed response comes, and then I started fighting back. But until then, I couldn't do it. It was so much.
You're a better man than me.
And I'm aware it's a video game, so what?
Game was cancelled and the platform was removed from Steam as well, and good riddance. Now at number 6 is Gal Gun Double Peace. Now this game is a rail shooter Bishoko game developed by Inti Creates, and it was released in Japan in 2015 and worldwide the following year. And it's a sequel to the original Gal Gun released in 2011, and the game is set at an academy in Japan and basically follows an unpopular male student called Hude Kudoki. A student Cupid, I know that doesn't make sense but go with it, hits kids who day with 32 times the original attended amount, and then soon after the whole school is in love with him. So much so they start hurting him in a way involving bondage, you could say. The game follows him shooting his female classmates with pheromone shots while he desperately tries to find his true love girlfriend before sunset, because if he doesn't, he'll face a lifetime alone. The game has been banned in countries like New Zealand and the UAE for supporting and promoting the exploitation of children and the use of coercion and force during sexual conduct. Coming in at number 5 is Postal 2 or Postal Squared. This is a black comedy shooter video game released by Running with Scissors back in 2003. Black comedy basically just means jokes about things that are taboo like death, mental illness, sexuality, discrimination, racism, etc. The game follows Postal Dude going through the week, and each day he has a bunch of mundane tasks he has to do, like buy milk, do groceries, etc. As the player, you can do these tasks.
He needs a fucking knife to do that? Like, what the
Let me go buy some milk.
It's a pre-bloody knife.
Oh,
Stab somebody.
we're out of butter.
I have played this game too.
Yeah.
Peacefully, or you can choose to do them as violently as you want. The choice is yours. Throughout the game, you're provoked by basically everyone in the game almost all the time. A year after its release, the Office of Film and Literature Classification banned the game in New Zealand for excessive levels of violence as well as animal abuse. And that's not even the worst the game has to offer. This game is interesting because it's hard to sort of ban or hate it because it really only gets as bad as you let it get. You can finish the game harming no one, or you can finish it while killing everyone. At number 4 now is Hatred. Now this game is an isometric shoot 'em up video game released by Destructive Creations in 2015. This game follows the main character who's a misanthropic mass killer who's on a genocide crusade mission trying to kill as many people as he can. For what reason? There is none. Its trailer release alone back in 2014 had already garnered a lot of controversy, and by the time it was released it got severely negative reviews. The game pretty much has no message or moral whatsoever other than a slew of endless violence, and I don't get why someone would create a game full of that much death and destruction just because. Some of the pictures I saw of this game are so graphic and dark, I was just thinking to myself, I don't know who would play this happily.
I think games like that, I think some games like that are good for people. That way they can live it out through the game.
This is true. It's like therapy.
I can't really argue that. I would think games are a form of escape, so I think there may be some validity to that.
I mean, you're talking genocide for fun, like that isn't a joke. The game was removed by Valve Corporation from their Steam Greenlight service for a while, but was brought back and re-released. For what reason, I have no idea.
I just thought about the first game that was on the list.
That game is fucked. That's fucked.
That game is not very helpful.
So I don't know. I gotta take it back now.
Filling our number 3 slot is Custer's Revenge. Now this game is old. I'm talking released in 1982 by Atari, 2600 old. This game is an adult video game with the main character being General George Armstrong Custer, who is famous for being a commander in the American Civil War and for his colossal defeat at the Battle of Little Bighorn. The player of the game controls Custer wearing absolutely nothing but a cavalry hat, a bandana, and boots with a very noticeable erection. Your obstacles in the game are arrows being thrown at you, and your aim is to avoid the arrows and reach the other side of the screen so you can have.
Whoever made this game was absolutely high.
Well, this was Atari.
I didn't even know Atari had games like this. I thought this was a modern thing.
If I saw this as a kid, I probably wouldn't even know what this was. It just looked like some scribble.
Sex with a Native American woman tied to a pole. Yeah, you heard that right. The original game was packaged as not for sale to minors, and it sparked a lot of controversy, and rightfully so. Anti-sex feminist Andrea Dworkin even claimed it physically generated a lot of gang rapes of Native American.
I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. Always. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is always.
Of course, it's the. Of course, it's the ugly fat woman that has to complain about everything.
Oh,
American women. There's no empirical.
I hope she didn't align herself with this woman. Never mind.
data to back up her claim, but many cities really wanted to ban the game, but only one actually ended.
This shit will
doing
never
it.
see the light of day. This video was not being posted, by the way.
Shout out to you, Oklahoma City. Now at number 2 is The Guy Game, and from the title you can maybe see where this game is headed. Maybe. The Guy Game was an adult video game made by Top Heavy Studios, and it was actually the first and last game they ever released. It was released in 2004 and follows a trivia game show style with 4 people being able to play at once. The game has 20 episodes altogether and features a total of 1,000 questions. Now you're probably sat there thinking there doesn't really seem anything wrong with this game so far. Wrong, my friend, very wrong. The game is mostly composed of live action footage of girls in bikinis aptly named the Hotties, and if you do well in the game, then the Hotties eventually take their bikinis off and show you their boobs. There's actually a
That's fair.
Hell yeah!
I don't see that game being that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if the women knew that they were being exposed for the video game and they willingly did it, I mean,
I think it's far better than all the other sex-related games on this video for sure. By like 1,000%.
I agree. Yes.
I agree with that.
I think the first one was just the absolute.
Yeah.
The first one was one hell of a way this young lady could start it off.
The one with the little girl where you shoot her with your pheromones at her crotch was really weird. I'm like, what the fuck is this game? What is he doing? That is so weird. But maybe it's a culture thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking of it, but I didn't want to say it.
flasher meter in the game, so the more correct answers you give, the higher the meter goes and the more exposed the boobs become. The game actually ended up as part of a lawsuit because one of the girls in the game wasn't told her boobs were going to be used to promote the game, and she was 17 years old when it was recorded, thus making her under.
Yeah, see, that's what I said. If they knew they were aware that they was going to be exposed, then I think it's fair.
But what do you think taking your breast out is?
Well, saying it
she
for
just
a game. Oh, yeah.
No, I was going to say, maybe she just thought it was for a bit of fun.
So it was better for a movie?
Well, maybe did she know she was being, because it's like
17. It's illegal either way. Whatever excuse you have, it's illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, 17's illegal.
I forgot about that part.
Age. The game was removed.
That's illegal to have that content then.
From the market real quick, and now it's a distant dream or nightmare. Most likely a nightmare. And finally, at number 1 is Sad Satan. Already
Sad
the name is
Carrots?
weird enough, so you can
You son of a bitch.
Accurate as hell.
I know you had your game. I like this. I never heard
Why
of
were you
this game.
sad?
I was like a second off. I hate it so much.
imagine what's about to follow. This was a PC game published by ZK and was downloaded to the Tor network via a deep web internet forum by an unknown developer back in 2015. I say back like it was ages ago when it was really only 4 years ago, but the name of the game is alluding to the Led Zeppelin song Stairway to Heaven, which apparently if you play backwards you can hear satanic lyrics. This was the last game featured on the YouTube channel Obscure Horror Corner before the channel stopped operating for unknown reasons. Some people say the person behind the channel is the real developer of the Sad Satan game and it was all just a publicity stunt. The game basically features you walking down a bunch of monochromatic hallways and hearing audio tapes that keep looping over and over again. The selection of audio tapes is of course creepy as hell, interviews from murderer Charles Manson, as well as distorted audios of other tapes. It also shows pictures of murder victims, people being beheaded, and people being hit by vehicles. Other than the main player, the only other characters in the game are children that stand and do not interact with you or move at all. An updated version of the game was uploaded by someone claiming to be ZK, but that was actually a virus and people's computers started slowing down considerably or straight up not working at all. And that's all for today's video, guys. I'm very intrigued at what the comment section of this video will be because I really want to know if you guys have even played any of these games and what you thought. And for the other games on this list, what do you think? Did they deserve to get banned? Did they not? Let me know what you think in the comments below and I'll respond to as many of you as I can. As always, I'm your host Eamon Hassan and I'll see you next.
There was another game in a similar vein to a lot of these where, if I remember correctly, like it was an anime style game and you would like fight the people, but the more you fought, their clothes came off. And they were vampires, so you had to punch their clothes off so that they would get burned off by the sun. I was like, what kind of horny shit is this? Yeah. That's the only like game even similar to this that I heard of. Like I ain't heard of none of these.
Free